rivers. Imagine a world millions of years in the past, a time when our ancestors were just beginning to truly walk tall. Our story begins with Homo erectus, an incredible species that mastered walking on 2 feet, freeing their hands for so much more.
These weren't just hands. They were tools themselves, capable of shaping the very first technologies, the Oldowan tools.
Survival was a daily challenge, a constant dance between finding enough to eat and avoiding becoming dinner for something else.
And what dangers lurked. Predators like the magnificent Dinofelis, masters of the hunt, ruled these plains. But it wasn't all danger. The savannas supported incredible megafauna, like the impressive Civatherium, a distant cousin of today's giraffe. Access to water was paramount, and even then, our ancestors showed ingenuity in carrying this vital resource across the landscape. And as the sun set, a new kind of warmth and safety emerged, the controlled use of fire. The dry spells always gave way to life. The rainy season transformed the savanna, turning barren land. Toolmaking wasn't just about survival. It was an art, a skill passed down. Each strike struck.
They understood the power of working together. Cooperation wasn't just helpful, it was often the key to tackling bigger challenges.
Protein wasn't just meat. Termite mounds were a hidden feast, a nutritious bounty accessed with strength and simple tools.
The savanna was a stage for epic hunts. Apex predators like the incredible Macarotus were always on the lookout for their next meal.
Sharing food wasn't just practical. It forged bonds, strengthened the group, and created a sense of belonging around the life-giving fire. And sometimes, they encountered truly ancient, slow-moving giants. The colossal land tortoise.
Amidst the harshness, there was love and nurture. The care for the young was fundamental.
Food wasn't always obvious. Sometimes, it took effort, ingenuity, and a good digging stick to uncover hidden sustenance.
The weather itself was a force of nature. From scorching sun to sudden, intense storms, the savanna was constantly shifting.
When the skies opened, finding shelter was crucial. These ancient shelters offered not just protection.
They were keen observers. Vultures weren't just birds, they were living signposts, pointing the way to a potential meal left by another predator.
Water was the lifeblood of this landscape, drawing all creatures, big and small, to its vital source. Their diet wasn't just meat and roots. Rivers offered another bounty, and our ancestors were quick to adapt their skills to fishing. But fishing meant competing with other powerful scavengers and predators. The immense, short-faced hyena was a force to be reckoned with. Fire wasn't just for cooking and warmth. It was a shield, a powerful deterrent against the unseen dangers that roamed under the cover of darkness. Beyond grunts and calls, the seeds of language were being sown. Simple gestures and sounds began to build the foundation for complex communication. Their world wasn't just flat savanna. They traversed diverse landscapes. Their upright stance. These mega herbivores literally reshaped their environment. The mighty Dinotherium could fell trees to access the tastiest leaves.
Home wasn't always a cave. They built temporary shelters, adapting to their environment, creating fleeting havens across the landscape.
As each day drew to a close, the sheer majesty of their world would unfold. A breathtaking reminder. No part of a kill was wasted. Bone marrow was a hidden treasure, providing crucial fats and nutrients essential for their growing brains.
They weren't alone. Other primates, like the massive Theropithecus baboons, also thrived here.
Even small predators could be a nuisance. Defending their hard-won meals required vigilance and the clever use of simple weapons.
Above them, the universe unfolded every night. The same stars that guide us today watched over our knowledge was life. Distinguishing edible plants from dangerous ones was a lesson passed down, crucial for survival across generations. They were wanderers, always on the move, following the seasons, the herds, and the promise of new resources across immense distances. Rivers were home to other giants too. The massive hippopotamus gorgops patrolled the waterways, a reminder of the raw power of nature. Did they leave their mark? Perhaps early attempts at symbols, or even simple messages, began to appear on the ancient stones. The very air itself could dance with power. Dust devils were common sights, ephemeral. As they gathered more, so too did their ingenuity grow. Simple carrying devices made the long trek back to camp much easier. Scavenging was a calculated risk. They learned to identify freshness, to avoid disease, a crucial skill in a world without medicine. Their world was incredibly rich in biodiversity. Vast herds of grazers provided a constant, albeit challenging, source of potential food. Tools weren't just for butchering. Wooden spears, sharpened by hand, slowly began to shift them from pure scavengers to opportunistic hunters. The savanna's residents included formidable beasts. The giant warthog ancestor, Metridiochorus. Silent communication was vital. Hand signals, subtle gestures, allowed for coordinated action when noise might mean disaster.
Their home was a place of immense geological power. The Great Rift Valley constantly reshaped the land.
Certain stones were priceless. Obsidian and chert, with their superior sharpness, were eagerly sought for the finest cutting tools. Even in a world of constant movement, moments of rest were vital. A cool stream offered a brief, but nature also brought immense challenges. Devastating dust storms could sweep across the land, obscuring the world in a choking cloud. When such storms descended, there was no time for panic. Instinct and planning meant seeking immediate shelter. Fire was a gift, but mastering it meant understanding fuel. They likely experimented, learning which woods. The savanna was home to diverse hunters. The agile Homotherium, with its unique scimitar teeth.
They learned to enhance their tools. Fire hardening made wooden implements stronger, sharper, allowing them to.
Rivers were no longer impassable barriers. They learned to navigate the waterways, carefully crossing to new territories, expanding their reach. From the land came not just food, but materials for creation. They learned to process plants.
Not all landscapes were open. Dense, thorny thickets presented their own dangers, a maze that demanded careful navigation.
Discoveries were shared. A new patch of food or a reliable water source was a collective boon, celebrated and remembered by the group. Some animals were simply too big to challenge. The enormous Pelorovis, an ancient buffalo. Sometimes the safest place was off the ground. Building elevated platforms in trees offered a vital defense against nocturnal hunters. Rain meant not just growth, but relief. Collecting fresh rainwater was effortless, a chance to
Fire was too precious to lose. They carried its embers, a living flame.
Lions were, as always, kings of the savanna. The ancient Panthera leo fossilis.
Their diet expanded with their tools. Cracking tough nuts and fruits opened up entirely new, energy-rich food sources previously inaccessible.
Vast ancient lakes dotted the landscape, oases of life where a dazzling array of creatures came to feed, drink, and thrive.
Not all stones were equal. They learned to identify the best materials, those that would flake predictably. Some encounters were simply too dangerous to risk. A charging rhino, a force of nature, demanded respect and immediate retreat. Beyond survival, there was wonder. Did they pause, like us, to simply take in the breathtaking beauty of their ancient world? Innovation didn't stop at just stones. They experimented with binding, using natural fibers to create more complex, multi-part tools. The waterways held their own ancient dangers. Colossal crocodiles, even larger than today's, but the savanna was also a land of extremes. Prolonged droughts were brutal tests, pushing every living creature to its absolute limits. When conditions became unbearable, they moved. Long migrations were a way of life.
Other hunters were also masters of the plains. The ancient wild dog, with its relentless endurance, was a formidable and cooperative predator.
Hides were a valuable resource, not just for warmth, but for carrying and protecting. Preparing them was a laborious but essential task. Beyond the open savannas lay different worlds. Dense gallery forests along rivers offered shade.
Entering the forest was entering a different kind of wild. Here, new resources awaited, but also new, unseen dangers.
Nastus. The forest floor held unusual creatures. Giant pangolins, armored and solitary, their intelligence stretched to planning. Simple traps, cleverly laid, could provide a more reliable source of small game without a direct confrontation. These traps worked. A small catch meant a vital protein boost, a testament to their growing understanding of animal knowledge. Wasn't just practical, it was navigational. Learning the landscape, its landmarks and secrets, was crucial for survival and movement.
The rivers could also bring chaos. Flash floods reshaped the land overnight, creating new challenges and
Navigating a changed world required extreme caution. Newly formed river crossings could be treacherous, demanding careful steps and shared vigilance. Beyond their own kind, other great primates shared these ancient lands. The immense Gigantopithecus,
Fire could be a tool, but it was also a terrifying force. Distant bushfires were a constant threat.
Natural shelters were prized. Caves and rock overhangs, made habitable with the warmth and light of fire. As their minds grew, so did their stories. Recounting hunts, dangers, and discoveries strengthened their bonds, sharing ulets. Beyond food, the plants offered healing. Early knowledge of medicinal herbs, passed down through generations.
The plains were home to many forms of life, including the nimble Archaeohippus.
With every sunrise, new lands beckoned. Their journeys were not just about survival, but about an innate tools. Craftsmanship extended beyond stone, choosing the right wood for strength, straightness, and durability. The savanna was a blur of motion. Agile gazelles, a constant food source, were masters of
hunting was becoming more sophisticated. Coordinated drives, working as a team, marked a significant leap in their ability to acquire food.
Their minds were rapidly evolving. The ability to concentrate, to problem-solve complex challenges, was key to their ongoing success.
The heavens themselves could put on a show. Lightning storms, immense and powerful.
From the safety of their shelters, they witnessed nature's raw power, perhaps beginning to weave stories and meanings into these incredible events. Watering holes were bustling, yet dangerous. Even the sturdy ancient zebras had to stay alert, always watchful for hidden predators. Their understanding of the physical world grew. Simple machines, like the lever, allowed them to manipulate their environment in powerful new ways. And so, the wisdom of generations was passed on. Elders, repositories of knowledge, guided the young.
And sometimes, nature itself opened a path. Ancient land bridges, or shallow crossings, offered.
Curiosity was a powerful drive. Was this a barrier or an invitation? The unknown beckoned. Across these boundaries, new worlds teemed with different life. Majestic deer, or perhaps. Every new land presented new lessons. They rapidly adapted, learning which plants nourished. But beyond the familiar, even harsher climates awaited. Distant, snow-capped mountains hinted at in treeless plains they innovated. The bones of ancient giants became their architecture, forming strong, wind-resistant shelters. As they moved north, fire became even more critical. A roaring blaze was their defense against the cold. Their journey had just begun. From the savannas of Africa, these incredible ancestors looked out. Their tools weren't just functional, they were becoming refined. The Acheulean hand axe, a symbol of early human ingenuity. The dry spells always gave way to life. The rainy season transformed the savanna, turning barren lands. Rain meant not just growth, but relief. Collecting fresh rainwater was effortless, a chance to refill. Even the giant birds were part of this ancient tableau. The ancestors of today's ostriches raced across the plains. From the land came not just food, but materials for creation. They learned to process plants. Rivers were not just sources of life, but pathways. They followed their courses, leading them deeper, and sometimes they encountered truly ancient, slow-moving giants. The colossal land tortoise. Learning was an active process. Adults patiently guided the young, demonstrating techniques, ensuring. Above them, the universe unfolded every night. The same stars that guide us today watched over our intellects. And as dawn broke, they rose again. Each new day brought its challenges, but also the evil. Beyond basic cleaning, hides were softened and treated, making them more comfortable and durable for carrying.
Not all landscapes were open. Dense, thorny thickets presented their own dangers, a maze that demanded careful navigation.
Protein wasn't just meat. Termite mounds were a hidden feast, a nutritious bounty accessed with strength and simple tools. The ground held its own hidden dangers. Ancient pythons, immense and silent, were patient. Life wasn't just survival. Moments of shared laughter, of light-hearted connection, reminded them of the deep bonds that held their groups together. Certain places held a natural draw. Perhaps in these natural amphitheaters, groups occasionally met. The forest and bushland provided vital variety. Ripe berries and fruits were sweet rewards, offering essential vitamins and energy.
And in the forests, giant wild pigs, like the formidable Colpoquerus, were masters of foraging, powerful and unpredictable.
Beyond pure utility, a spark of aesthetics emerged. Simple adornments made from natural finds, bliss. Above them, the majestic birds of prey circled, symbols of power, vision, and the freedom to explore the boundaries. They understood cycles, including how to make food last. Drying meat in the sun was an early form of preservation. Nature provided essential minerals. Salt licks were vital meeting points, drawing animals to their mineral spins. The earth itself held remedies. Specific clays or mineral pigments, perhaps used for medicine or
even the mightiest predators had their moments of vulnerability. A watering hole was a necessity, but always approached with caution.
As groups solidified, so did their rituals. Shared dances and rhythmic movements around the fire. Boundaries were not always open. Mountain passes, formidable and treacherous, were gateways to new lands.
Pointing wasn't just directing. It was sharing foresight, indicating a potential resource, or a distant threat.
From a young age, curiosity drove learning. Manipulating objects, understanding how they worked, was the foundation of future innovation. As rivers met the sea, new worlds unfolded. Deltas were incredible ecosystems, bursting inlets. Their ingenuity extended to the waters. Simple woven nets or baskets allowed them to harvest the bounty of rivers. Cooking wasn't just throwing meat on a fire. They mastered heat, building controlled cooking pits to maximize flavor and efficiency. The savanna held many moods. Sometimes, dawn brought a shroud of mist, transforming. In the mist, their other senses came alive. Every sound, every scent became crucial for navigation and avoiding unseen dangers. Even the giants moved silently through the morning veil. The ghostly forms of Civatherium emerged. Every cut told a story. The distinct marks left by their stone tools on bones are, to this day,
the land itself bore the scars of time. Ancient erosion, carving canyons and valleys.
Other primates fiercely defended their territories. The ancient baboons, powerful and vocal, were not to be challenged lightly.
Planning for the future was key. Creating hidden caches of tools or preserved food ensured resourcefulness. And when the hunt was successful, the rewards were shared. A large, communal meal was a celebration. No part of a kill was wasted. Even the skull held precious resources, brain matter for nourishment. Beyond the dry plains and forests lay the wetlands. Vast, ancient swamps offered a different kind of boundlessness. These weren't easy places to navigate. Wading through the murky waters, they sought out hidden tubers and aquatic plants.
And beneath the surface, ancient life thrived. Massive lungfish, living relics.
Freight. Protection was paramount. Adults instinctively shielded the young, a silent promise of safety in a world.
They learned from the animals. Following ancient game trails was the most efficient way to navigate dense terrain.
Compassion was a quiet strength. Supporting the weakest, sharing the bounty with the elderly or infirm, even the more common animals were a challenge. Ancient wild donkeys, swift and wary, provided another test of their hunting and tracking skills. The heavens were their first clock. Observing the changing phases of the moon, they might have begun to mark dietary innovation wasn't just about meat. Grinding stones helped them process tough plant foods, unlocking more nutrients and expanding their menu even further.
Old rivers left their mark. Oxbow lakes, formed from ancient meanders, became tranquil havens.
The ancient rivers were patrolled by apex predators. Massive crocodiles, basking in the sun, were a conflict. Beyond practical needs, social bonds were nurtured. Mutual grooming, simple acts of touch, strengths. They were masters of varied terrain. From open plains to hilly woodlands, their upright stance allowed them to even tree sap held value. Resins and gums could be used as adhesives, or perhaps for medicinal purposes.
But not all threats were on the ground. The ancient leopard, master of ambush and arboreal stealth, watched from
the right tool for the job. A perfectly weighted hammerstone made cracking bones for vital marrow efficient. And sometimes, the heavens put on an unforgettable show. Comets and meteor showers, burning bright. Innovation came in many forms. Ostrich eggshells, sturdy and perfectly shaped, became valuable. But their world also encompassed the truly unforgiving. Vast deserts, relentless and empty. Survival in the desert demanded extreme discipline, conserving every drop of water, resting in any instruments. Even the harshest lands held life. Ancient desert foxes, masters of the arid night. They marked their way. Simple cairns, piles of stones, served as ancient signposts. Their strength lay in unity. Moving as a cohesive group, they offered mutual protection, shared knowledge. Curiosity was tempered by caution. Probing unknown crevices, they balanced the drive for discovery with an acute awareness of potential danger. From their rocky perches, the great saber-toothed cats surveyed their ancient domains, timeless symbols of the wild power that shared these lands. Protecting their fire was critical, especially in the rain. Tending a small blaze in a well-built shelter provided numerous. They watched the heavens, not just for wonder, but for patterns. Observing the shifting constellations, they
reaching the unreachable. They improvised tools to extend their grasp.
Their world was shaped by geological might. Ancient volcanic lakes, often still and dark.
Every new plant was a risk and a lesson. They learned to carefully test, relying on subtle cues.
And in some new lands, truly unique creatures roamed. The immense Glyptodon, a living tank. Coastal regions offered new routes and riches. Crossing vast estuaries at low tide, they explored new frontiers. The sea was a larder. Exposed mudflats and tide pools revealed an abundance of shellfish and other marine life. And beyond the shore, the ocean held its own giants. The colossal megalodon, a truly ancient. From plants, they drew strength. Twisting and rolling fibers, they created the first ropes and cords. Essentialist. Tools were precious. A broken spear wasn't discarded, but meticulously repaired, showing foresight and nerve. Deep in some regions, the rainforest stood ancient and immense. A world of eternal green, it held. Rainforests demanded new solutions. Their shelters adapted, using vast leaves and branches to create temperature. Even the forest had its giants. Ancient forest elephants moved through the dense jungle,
carving paths.
Arrays. Communication wasn't just close conversation. Urgent calls and clear gestures allowed them to alert others to distant.
Beyond carrying embers, they mastered fire from scratch. The skill of friction fire starting was a testament to their noons. The wetlands were also home to tough survivors. Ancient warthogs, with their distinctive tusks. Beyond direct communication, something new was stirring. Children, with their innate creativity, wondering. The full moon transformed their world. Under its brilliant glow, the savanna took on an almost magic.
And by the light of the fire, the stories truly came alive. Passed from generation to generation.
And so, they took the leap. Small groups ventured forth, driven by an insatiable curiosity.
I found you!
Gotcha.
These weren't just individuals. They were a network, a living, breathing social fabric.
But tranquility was always fleeting. The savanna's wild heart pulsed just beyond their small circle of safety.
A silent hunter, master of camouflage. The python was a reminder that even waterholes could conceal deadly threats. Their communication wasn't always words. It was a glance, a gesture, a shared understanding that could mean the difference between life and death. Every encounter was a lesson, shaping their awareness, refining their instincts for survival in this unforgiving land. Sometimes, other animals weren't just food or danger. They were a barometer, signaling areas of peace. Their eyes weren't just on the ground, but on the horizon, always seeking the next landmark, the next potential haven. Even a modest rock outcrop offered a strategic advantage, a momentary high ground in a world that constantly kept them on their toes. Even in moments of rest, the work continued. The art of napping, a skill constantly honed. From hunting to preparing hides for warmth or carrying, every tool had its purpose. The skills weren't born overnight. They were taught, repeated, and painstakingly perfected through generations of effort. As the savanna breathed out its last golden light, they drew together. The coming night was a different kind. Night brought a new shift in vigilance. While others rested, a few kept the silent vigil, their senses tuned to every whisper of the darkness. Every sound was analyzed, every distant cry a potential warning. Their survival often hinged on these acute, instinctive reactions.
The cackle of hyenas, a common nocturnal symphony, but one that always demanded a heightened state of readiness.
Even in sleep, their ancestral senses were never fully switched off. The collective unease rippled through the resting forms. The danger receded, for now. But the memory of the threat remained, etched into their cautious instincts. As the first light kissed the horizon, the savanna awakened, and so did they. A new
What was that? A wisp of smoke, a distant signal. Was it from nature's wild fury, or a sign of other beings?
Every anomaly in their world was a question, demanding an answer that could impact their next move.
When in doubt, caution was always the wisest path. Unexplained phenomena were often best avoided.
But the daily hunt for sustenance continued. Sometimes, the most valuable treasures were hidden beneath their feet.
The passing on of knowledge wasn't just about survival. It was the slow, steady inheritance of generations of wisdom.
No one went hungry alone. The roots of their society were nourished by the simple act of sharing. A distant tragedy for one, a potential opportunity for another. The vultures were always the first to announce such events. Scavenging was a high-stakes game. The prize was meat, but the cost could be a direct confrontation with Africa's apex predators. Speed was of the essence. A quick strike, a grabbed portion, before the true owners of the kill returned. Success. A small, dangerous victory. Every calorie earned was a direct investment in their survival. The rich protein was a rare gift, fueling their bodies and minds, providing the energy needed for their relentless existence. Nothing was wasted. Every part of a kill offered sustenance, down to the rich marrow within the bones. A full stomach brought a rare sense of peace. Moments like these, however brief, were vital for recovery and bonding. Even the wind could surprise them, conjuring spirits of dust across the vast, open plains. The savanna's theatrics were fleeting. They had to keep moving, keep searching, keep adapting to its endless whims. Innovation wasn't always a grand leap. Sometimes it was a subtle tweak, a better grip, a shared secret that made life a little easier. Sometimes the land offered more than just a fleeting rest stop. These rocky havens promised a more substantial shelter, a temporary home. But even the best shelters came with questions. Was it safe? Who had been here before? Every new discovery was a calculated risk. Turning a cold rock into a home required ingenuity, transforming the raw materials of the land into comfort and warmth. From the grand hunt to the simple act of making a bed, every task was a lesson, shaping the next generation's survival skills. For now, a sense of belonging. This temporary haven offered not just shelter, but a fragile influence. The rock shelter became a hub for quieter, domestic tasks. Cracking nuts, a simple yet vital skill. Learning was a messy, frustrating business. But patience and persistence were always rewarded. And when frustration grew, the helping hand of a seasoned elder often made all the difference. Even in their temporary refuge, vigilance remained paramount. The eyes of the group were always on the horizon, watching.
Sometimes, the giants of the savanna were simply part of the landscape, their immense forms moving with quiet grace. The sheer scale of these ancient giants could inspire both caution and a profound, silent wonder. Fueling their future. Every piece of wood was a promise of warmth, protection, and the transformative power of fire. The careful preparation of fire wasn't just practical. It was a ritual, a deep understanding of its power and necessity. This was the magic, the ancient art of coaxing flame from stone and wood, a skill that truly set them apart. The first breath of fire. A fragile beginning, yet holding immense power to transform their world. And then, warmth, light, protection. The fire became the heart of their temporary bliss. With fire, food was transformed. Easier to digest, safer to eat. The smell of cooked meat. A primal joy, a powerful incentive, promising strength and a deeper satisfaction. The cooked meal was more than just sustenance. It was a gathering, a shared experience, strengthening the bonds of their small family. Fire was a friend, but also a fierce teacher. Its warmth and power commanded respect, a lesson learned early. This wasn't just about making fire, but mastering it. Understanding its hunger,
and how to feed it responsibly.
Beyond their flickering circle of light, the wild night unfolded. But within, they had carved out a pocket of sanctuary.
The fire was a living entity, demanding constant attention. Its maintenance, a continuous act of foresight and skill.
The gift of fire brought not just warmth, but a deeper, more restorative sleep, vital for facing another challenging day.
Even after a night's rest, the first task was often to awaken the fire, breathing life back into the embers.
But their stay was always temporary. The savanna called, and their nomadic spirit beckoned them onward.
Each shelter was a fleeting chapter, a safe haven honored before the journey resumed its relentless rhythm. The savanna's tapestry was constantly rewritten by its inhabitants. Every broken blade of grass, a clue to what had passed, a fresh print. The unmistakable signature of a true hunter, a constant, silent presence in their world. Discretion was often the better part of valor. Avoiding a confrontation was a victory in itself. The sky held its own warnings. A distant thunderhead, a dark promise of the savanna's formidable storms.
There was no debating the weather, only reacting to it. They had to find cover, and fast.
The air itself turned against them, a furious herald of the coming deluge. Every step was a race against the elements.
Just in time. The dense canopy provided a momentary shield, a thin line between them and the full force of the storm.
Nature's raw power unleashed. They could only huddle, endure, and wait for the torrent to pass.
Even the bravest found the storm's fury daunting. But in moments of fear, the strength of the group was their comfort.
And just as suddenly, the fury began to fade. The dark curtain of the storm lifting, promising renewal.
A transformed world. The thirsty earth had drunk its fill, and the savanna sparkled, reborn by the downpour. The storm had cleansed the air, leaving behind a world reborn. Every scent, every sound felt sharper, clearer. With the rain came new life, a fresh bounty of edible greens. Nature's larder, replenished and waiting. Every season, every weather event brought new opportunities. Their knowledge of the plants was as vital as their skill with tools. Beauty was everywhere, but survival often demanded focus. The difference between a pretty flower and vital nourishment. The purest gift of the storm. Fresh, clean water. A temporary luxury that quenched their thirst like nothing else. And sometimes, the storm brought unexpected treasures. Fish, trapped and vulnerable. A sudden bounty. Agility and quick thinking were just as important as strength. Adapting to the moment, seizing fleeting opportunities.
Another source of protein, easily won. The unpredictable savanna could be generous if you knew how to read its signs.
A fresh meal, raw and rich. Every calorie a victory, every taste a testament to their adaptability. Their lives were intertwined with the weather's moods. Reading the sky was an essential, intuitive science. The savanna was a shared space. Other inhabitants, though not always a threat, always commanded a respectful distance. Even in their harsh reality, moments of play and imitation brought lightness, a vital spark of childhood joy.
A find as valuable as food or water. A new source of flint.
The quality of the stone mattered. Good flint meant stronger edges, more efficient work, less effort.
A tool workshop, right there in the wild. Turning raw rock into the very extension of their will.
The creation of a hand axe was an art, a science. Each blow deliberate, each flake removed with purpose.
A masterpiece of the Stone Age. Sharp, balanced, ready for the countless tasks ahead. Proof of its power. The right tool made all the difference, transforming effort into efficiency. With renewed tools came renewed confidence. A step forward, however small, in their endless quest.
The savanna held wonders and terrors on a colossal scale. Some forces of nature were simply...
Our ancestors weren't just eating meat. They were masters of botany too, knowing exactly where to find those hidden pockets of nutrition.
Tools weren't just for hunting. That digging stick meant access to roots and tubers, a vital part of their diet.
Learning was hands-on, a constant process of observation and imitation, ensuring vital knowledge passed down through generations.
They weren't just tied to one landscape. Homo erectus understood the mosaic of their world, seeking out different opportunities. When water was scarce, ingenuity took over. They knew how to find and create their own, even when the surface ran dry. Patience and sharing were essential. Everyone understood that a shared resource meant survival for all. Their lives were intimately connected to the weather, reading every subtle shift in the wind and sky. Instinctively, they knew where to find safety, turning natural formations into temporary homes against the elements. Huddled together, they found comfort and protection, a testament to their enduring social bonds. Even in a downpour, curiosity was alive. Every natural event was a lesson waiting to be observed.
The storm passed, leaving behind a refreshed world, brimming with renewed life.
Rain meant fresh tracks, and fresh tracks meant a potential meal, a crucial connection they understood.
Their keen eyes and tracking skills were honed by necessity, reading the subtle signs left by their prey. The hunt was on. A delicate balance of stealth, patience, and precise timing. Teamwork wasn't just about sharing, it was about strategy, working together to outsmart their agile prey. But the savanna was a place of heightened senses. One false move, and the opportunity would vanish. Patience was their greatest weapon. Sometimes, doing nothing was the most effective strategy.
A moment of relief. The hunt could continue.
Every step was calculated. Every rustle of grass held potential consequence.
Then, the coordinated action. A simple projectile, perfectly timed, to herd their prey.
The chase was short and explosive, a burst of raw power and precision. A successful hunt meant sustenance, not just for today, but for the crucial days to come.
Their stone tools were extensions of their will, turning raw materials into usable food with remarkable efficiency. Food was a shared victory, strengthening the bonds that held their community together. Every part was utilized. Marrow, a superfood of the ancient world, provided essential energy. After the effort, a period of rest and watchful observation, always aware of their surroundings.
They were not alone on the savanna. Other predators and scavengers were always lurking, drawn by the scent.
A show of force, a clear message. This is our territory, our kill!
They moved on, but not empty-handed. Planning for the future was a key to their success.
Elevation offered a strategic advantage, a chance to survey their vast, ever-changing home. A wisp of smoke, a sign of fire, but was it nature's work, or something else entirely?
They had to decide, approach with caution or steer clear. Every decision carried weight.
Prudence often won the day. Sometimes, the safest path was the one less traveled.
The new path brought new rewards. A bounty of delicious, nutrient-rich fruits.
Knowledge of plants was critical. Which fruits were safe, which were ripe. A lesson passed down.
Moments of peace, enjoying the abundance that this varied landscape offered.
Beyond cutting, they were mastering grinding, unlocking even more energy from their plant diet. Innovation spread quickly. A new skill meant greater sustenance for the entire group.
From hard nuts to a digestible paste, a simple yet profound step in food preparation.
Their journey took them deeper, into areas where the savanna gave way to something richer, more sheltered. Fresh water, a life-giving artery through the heart of the landscape, was always a welcome sight.
Even amidst the daily struggle, moments of play and joy reminded them of their shared humanity.
And then, a discovery. A hidden cave. A promise of shelter and safety for the night.
Every new shelter needed careful inspection. Was it empty? Or did something else call it home? A safe haven found. A moment of respite in their relentless journey.
The cave's embrace brought a sense of security, a temporary sanctuary from the dangers outside.
Even as night approached, the work of survival never truly ended. Tools always needed to be ready.
As darkness fell, the savanna awoke with a new symphony of sounds, a constant reminder of the unseen world.
Sleep was never truly deep. One eye, or at least one ear, was always on guard.
And so, under the vast African sky, our ancestors found their solace, ready to face another dawn, another day. The rhythm of life continued, a testament to their resilience. First order of business: assess the night. Who passed by? What dangers lurked? A chilling reminder. They shared their world with powerful, silent hunters, even close to their shelters. These weren't just tracks, they were lessons, reinforcing the need for constant, unwavering vigilance. Every rustle, every shadow, demanded attention. The deeper they went, the more eyes they needed. Not all bright berries were food. Distinguishing edible from poisonous was a skill passed down for survival.
Unga.
Trust in experience was paramount. Their elders held the encyclopedic knowledge of their world.
No food source was overlooked. Insect larvae, packed with protein, were a welcome treat. Expanding their palate was part of the learning curve, overcoming natural hesitations for essential nutrients.
A new taste, a new source of energy. Every successful foraging attempt built confidence and knowledge. The lion's roar, a sound that brought an instant, primal fear. Discretion was always the better part of valor.
They were not just hiding, they were calculating, mapping the invisible movements of the savanna's apex predators.
A silent language of survival. Small cues spoke volumes, signaling safety.
Every close call sharpened their instincts, making them even more attuned to the whispers of danger.
Unga.
the lion's roar, a clear signal, time to go. They knew when to push and when to retreat.
Relief, yes, but never fully letting their guard down. The wild held no true moments of complete safety.
Feasting on their hard-won bounty, reaffirming their shared destiny and communal survival.
There was an urgency now, a silent understanding that speed could mean the difference between discomfort and true danger. Within these simple walls, families found respite, a temporary haven in a often harsh world.
But even the best preparation couldn't always outrun the wild, unpredictable forces of nature.
We go around. We go around.
The cornered animal, fighting for its life. A moment of raw confrontation, predator meeting prey in a desperate struggle. The final, decisive blow. Years of practice, generations of knowledge, culminating in this single, vital act of sustenance. Silence descended again, but this time, it was the silence of success. A victory hard won. The work wasn't over. A successful hunt was a beacon, a scent that carried far, drawing the whole family, drawn by the promise of food. A collective sigh of relief, knowing that for now, the efficiency was paramount. Every cut precise, every movement economical. No part of the animal would be wasted. Their technology, simple yet incredibly effective. These flaked stones, the bedrock of their survival, transforming raw material into sustenance. It was a communal effort. The sheer size of their prey demanded shared labor, reinforcing their interdependence. The next generation, watching, learning. Every action a lesson, every skill a vital piece of knowledge passed down without words.
Portability was key. They couldn't stay here forever. The bounty needed to be carried back to their camp.
to their temporary home. Nothing was wasted, and the most nutrient-dense parts were often consumed on the spot, replenishing energy after the grueling hunt. The race against the setting sun. Night brought a new set of challenges, and they needed to secure their prize before darkness descended. Victory claimed, the spoils secured. A powerful reminder of their capabilities, and the never-ending...
The journey back was a different kind of challenge. Heavy burdens, tired limbs, but fueled by the success of their collective effort.
Even in exhaustion, the lessons continued. Carrying a load, learning to conserve energy, vital skills for every member of the group. Weariness was a small price to pay for such a bounty. The promise of warmth and sustenance, just within reach.
The ancient land watched them, as it had watched countless generations before. Their night brought a new need for their greatest invention, that precious ember, a portable sun, guiding them through the encroaching darkness.
The symphony of the night, beautiful but perilous. Every distant call a reminder that they were not alone, and vigilance was constant.
Home, or what passed for it. The welcoming glow of their hearth, the anticipation of those who had waited patiently, the ultimate reward, the raw meat transformed by fire, becoming not just sustenance, but a shared experience, a moment of triumph. The scent of cooked meat, a revolution for their species. Easier to digest, more energy extracted, fueling their growing brains. This was the heart of their world. The fire, the food, the shared laughter and stories, cementing the immersed. For the young, this was pure magic. The warmth, the safety, and the incredible taste of food.
That first bite, Tawny, it wasn't just sustenance, it was the embodiment of their hard work. A moment of pure, simple joy.
Sharing wasn't just generosity, it was survival. Distributing the bounty, ensuring everyone benefited from the group's success. Every morsel counted. Their tools allowed them to extract every last calorie, optimizing their intake in a world of scarcity. Even after the meal, the work of preparation continued, sharpening tools, maintaining the essential instruments of their survival.
Learning by doing. Learning by watching. The continuous transfer of knowledge. The living library of their species.
Protecting the fire, preserving the heat. Each ember a promise of warmth and safety for the dawn, a vital link to survival. As the fire faded, their bodies provided warmth. The closeness, a comfort against the cold.
Under the vast African sky, their small fire was a tiny island of light and life. A testament.
Safe, for now. Protected by the group, by their ingenuity, by the fire. Ready to face another
day, slowly awakening. The vast savanna stretching out, holding both. The ritual of rebirth. That precious flame rekindled from the night's remnants.
The warmth spread, pulling them from their sleep. The simple comfort of fire, the anchor of their existence. Morning preparations. Tools were their lifeline, demanding constant care, always ready for the day's demands. Leftovers were a luxury, a buffer against immediate hunger. The efficiency of their hunt paying dividends into the new day.
Plans for the day, silently agreed upon. The group's movements were strategic, guided by instinct and collective observation.
Play was never just play. It was a vital part of their education, honing the skills they would one day need to survive. The canvas of their lives. A breathtaking, magnificent world, demanding respect and challenging them every single day.
Always on the move. Nomadic by necessity, following the resources, adapting to the ever-changing rhythms of their environment.
And so, the journey continued. Every dawn a new chapter, every step a testament. Learning to throw accurately was a critical survival skill, practiced relentlessly from a young age. Every nuanced movement, every subtle adjustment, was taught and refined over countless hours.
From crafting tools to reading the land, their education was constant, practical, and vital for the group's future.
Building temporary homes was a group effort, providing essential protection from the elements and predators. Their understanding of materials and structural integrity was surprisingly advanced, a testament to their ingenuity. Within these simple walls, families found respite, a temporary haven in a often harsh world.
But even the best preparation couldn't always outrun the wild, unpredictable forces of nature.
When the weather turned, every individual knew their role, working together to strengthen their temporary refuge.
Rain hammered down, a relentless drumming that tested the limits of their construction and their resilience. Huddled together, they shared warmth and reassurance, finding strength in their communal bond. Just as quickly as it arrived, the storm receded, leaving behind a world reborn, fresh and vibrant. Damage was inevitable, but so was their determination to rebuild and continue their journey. Their resourcefulness shone through even the simplest repairs, utilizing whatever nature provided. With the storm behind them, their focus shifted back to the rhythm of survival, searching for what the day might bring. Every discovery, no matter how small, was celebrated, especially when it meant a good meal.
Foraging was a daily ritual, a peaceful gathering that provided vital sustenance.
Each ripe berry was a small victory, a burst of sweetness in their often austere diet. But even during times of plenty, their senses remained sharp, always alert to the subtle shifts in their environment. A low rumble echoed across the savanna, a sound that quickly turned their focus from food to potential peril. It was a migrating herd, a majestic but potentially dangerous force to be respected and avoided. They knew the power of these giants, wisely choosing to give them a wide berth, moving silently into cover. Watching from a safe distance, they marveled at the sheer scale of the migration, a testament to nature's grandeur. Every passing herd was a learning opportunity, teaching the young to identify species, behaviors, and potential dangers. Finally, the dust settled, and the vast savanna returned to its usual, deceptive calm.
They emerged, ever watchful, continuing their quest, knowing that vigilance was their constant companion.
Their movements were precise, adapted to every contour of the challenging African landscape.
Beyond surface foraging, they knew how to extract hidden treasures from beneath the earth. Each root unearthed was a reward, a testament to their patience and knowledge of the land. Sharing was fundamental, ensuring everyone, especially the young, received their vital nourishment. The midday sun was unforgiving, making the shade of a great tree a precious sanctuary for rest and refuge. Even during rest, the work of maintaining their essential tools continued, a quiet, rhythmic act. A sharp edge was the difference between survival and struggle, a testament to their growing mastery of craft. As the sun began its descent, the urgency of finding a secure night camp grew, a constant rhythm of their lives. Every evening required a strategic decision, a location that offered both protection and proximity to resources.
Fire, their ally, was quickly kindled, its flickering light a beacon against the encroaching darkness.
Around the crackling flames, stories were shared, bonds strengthened, and the day's trials momentarily forgotten. A natural rock overhang offered the ideal sanctuary, a ready-made defense against the night's unseen dangers. But even in safety, one ear remained attuned to the sounds of the night, to the rustles and calls of the wild. The savanna at night was a different world, where shadows danced and unseen hunters roamed.
The watch was a shared responsibility, a silent pact to protect the slumbering group.
And then, as if by magic, the first blush of dawn began to paint the eastern sky, promising a new day. With the rising sun,
the cycle began anew, another day's journey stretching before them.
Leaving no trace, they carefully put out the fires, preserving their presence as much as possible.
And then, as silently as they had arrived, they vanished into the vastness, leaving the shelter to nature once more. Beyond raw foraging, they processed food, extracting more nutrients and making it easier to consume. This simple act of grinding transformed their diet, opening up new possibilities for sustenance. A nutrient-rich paste provided quick energy, a vital boost for their demanding lifestyle.
Learning through imitation was powerful, the next generation absorbing skills crucial for their survival.
Fresh water was life's blood, and finding a clean, flowing stream was always a cause for quiet gratitude. They drank deeply, quenching their thirst, the cool water a temporary reprieve from the savanna's heat. Carrying water was a challenge, but their ingenuity led to clever solutions using natural containers. They understood that water meant life, often following streams to discover new territories and resources. Fish offered a different kind of protein, a swift challenge to their foraging skills. A quick reflex and keen eye were often rewarded with a slippery, nutritious meal. Cooked fish was a treat, its smoky aroma filling the air, a welcome change to their diet. The crackle and sizzle of the fire transformed their food, making it safer and more palatable. Food was rarely eaten alone. Sharing was ingrained, strengthening the bonds of their community.
Every task, no matter how small, was an opportunity for the young to learn the vital skills of survival.
Leaving the lush riverbanks, they ventured back into the open, ever-changing savanna. They understood the delicate balance, observing without disturbing, learning from every creature they encountered.
The ground was a book, and they were expert readers, every track telling a story of what had passed.
These impressions held vital information, the identity, size, and even recent activity of the local wildlife.
Following tracks was a gamble, a calculated risk that could lead to a valuable meal or unforeseen danger.
They often scavenged, relying on the kills of other, more powerful predators to supplement their own hunting. It was a dangerous game, retrieving what they could while staying alert for the original hunter's return.
Bone marrow was a rich source of nutrients, requiring skill and the right tools to access. This fatty, nutrient-dense prize was a vital component of their diet, fueling their growing brains. Speed was crucial. Lingering too long at a kill site was an invitation for trouble.
With their prize secured, they moved swiftly away, eager to enjoy their hard-won meal in safety.
Back at camp, the scavenged feast was a welcome addition, enjoyed communally under the protection of fire. Even in the vast darkness, they found patterns, perhaps telling stories, or simply understanding the rhythm of the heavens.
The stars were their ancient map, their calendar, and a source of profound wonder.
Some foods were locked away, requiring force and the right tools to unlock their nutritious contents. This simple innovation expanded their diet, accessing resources previously out of reach. Their world wasn't just open savanna. They navigated diverse landscapes, adapting to each unique challenge. Honey was a rare and precious treat, a burst of energy and sweetness in their diet.
Getting to it was risky, but the reward was often worth the effort and careful planning.
The golden, sweet honeycomb was a powerful draw, a highly sought-after delicacy. A moment of pure delight, a sweet reward for their resourcefulness and bravery.
Nature provided not just food, but also ingenious ways to carry and consume it. Caves offered superior protection to temporary shelters, a more permanent promise of safety. Exploration was always tinged with caution. The unknown depths of a cave could hold surprises. They weren't the first to find shelter here. Understanding previous occupants was crucial. Once deemed safe, a cave could become a long-term base, offering unprecedented security. Fires turned the cold, dark cave into a warm, inviting sanctuary, pushing back the shadows. The dancing shadows told their own ancient stories, reflecting the flickering life within. Here, within these ancient walls, they found a deeper sense of belonging, a more permanent home. The cave's sturdy walls became part of their toolkit, a convenient surface for perfecting their implements. Within the security of their cave, moments of profound tenderness bloomed, reinforcing their deep family bonds. Their knowledge extended beyond food. They understood the healing properties of the plants around them. Passed down through generations, this vital wisdom offered remedies for sickness and injury. Simple treatments, based on observation and experience, helped them heal and recover. In a world without advanced medicine, these practices were life-saving, a testament to their compassionate nature. Venturing out, they constantly assessed their environment, using tools to navigate treacherous terrain.
Teamwork and careful planning allowed them to overcome even the stickiest challenges.
Their journey continued, taking them through landscapes as varied as their own experiences. Gaining elevation offered a crucial advantage, allowing them to survey the land for both opportunity and threat.
From up high, the world unfolded before them, a tapestry of life and potential dangers.
The sheer scale of their world was humbling, yet they navigated it with remarkable courage and determination.
Every discovery, every observation was shared, building a collective understanding of their surroundings. Not all water was safe to drink. They learned to distinguish between fresh pools and stagnant, unsafe sources. A trusted palate often made the final decision, ensuring the group's health and safety. These precious waterholes were vital landmarks, etched into their communal memory.
The savanna's floor was a treasure trove of potential tools for those with a discerning eye.
Choosing the right hammerstone was as critical as the core itself. Precision was everything. With practiced movements, they began the arduous process, chipping away to reveal the tool within. Each flake removed was a step closer to a refined edge, a sharper, more efficient instrument. The finished hand axe, a testament to their skill and foresight, was ready for the challenges ahead. With this refined tool, butchering became faster, more effective, maximizing their yield from a kill.
Each technological advancement propelled them forward, making their lives just a little bit easier, a little more secure. Beyond berries and meat, the earth held its own bounty, a hidden larder for those who knew where to look.
Digging was hard work, but the collective effort ensured a plentiful harvest for everyone.
These starchy roots provided essential carbohydrates, vital energy for their active lives.
Cooking transformed these tough roots, making them softer, tastier, and easier to digest. The ancient art of roasting elevated their meals, a simple yet profound culinary innovation. Warm, soft, and nourishing, these cooked roots provided deep satisfaction and sustained energy. The movements of animals were often guides, revealing hidden resources to those who paid attention. They learned to read these natural signs, integrating animal behavior into their nomadic wisdom. And often, their instincts, guided by nature's clues, led them to new, abundant food sources. The bounty of the trees provided a sweet, refreshing feast, a welcome change from their usual diet. Each piece of fruit was a burst of flavor, a simple pleasure in their demanding lives. Laughter and shared joy often accompanied these moments of plenty, strengthening their social bonds. They even found ways to process softer fruits, creating a refreshing, nutrient-rich drink. A natural, sweet beverage, a delicious way to stay hydrated in the heat of the savanna. These moments of shared abundance were precious, offering a brief respite from the constant grind of survival. The path to mastery was long, filled with trial and error, but their persistence was unwavering.
Patient guidance from elders ensured that hard-won skills were passed on, never lost.
A small success, but a crucial step, affirming their place in the collective knowledge of the group. Beyond practicality, a nascent form of expression began to emerge, leaving their mark on the world. These marks, though simple, hint at a deeper cognitive leap, a desire to represent their experiences.
Perhaps they conveyed meaning, or perhaps they were simply the earliest stirrings of human artistry. As seasons changed, so did their roots, embarking on longer treks in search of new hunting grounds. Leaving the safety of their cave, they faced the unknown, propelled by an innate drive to explore.
The savanna was a dangerous place, and sometimes those dangers loomed larger and more formidable. United, they stood their ground, their intelligence and tools their only defense against overwhelming power. Even the most fearsome predators understood the power of a united front, especially one armed with fire. Their strategy worked. The predator, wary of injury, chose to seek easier prey. The tension slowly eased, but the lesson was clear. Unity and courage were their greatest assets.
Smoke on the horizon could mean many things, but it always drew their attention, a sign of change.
Wildfires were a double-edged sword, destructive yet often revealing new opportunities. From the ashes, new life and new food often emerged, a stark reminder of nature's cycles. The fire had cooked it for them, a serendipitous meal in the aftermath of destruction. They harnessed the dying embers, extending the power of the fire for their own benefit. Charred wood, a byproduct of fire, also became a tool for creating pigment, for marking or decorating. Could these marks be the earliest forms of communication, symbols understood by the entire group? They left the fire's mark behind, a temporary stop on their endless journey through the ancient world. Even in their demanding lives, there were moments of simple play, learning and exploring through interaction. Observing the young, they saw not just children, but the future, the continuation of their lineage.
A landscape of plenty, where vast herds moved like living rivers, promising abundant hunting opportunities.
Hunting these giants required cunning, patience, and a deep understanding of their prey's behavior.
From the ashes, new life and new food often emerged, a stark reminder of nature's cycles. Every movement, every decision was critical. The stakes were always incredibly high.
They moved like shadows, using the terrain to their advantage.
closing in on their chosen prey.
A burst of speed, a coordinated charge, and the hunt was fully engaged. It was a visceral struggle, a dance between predator and prey, where strength met intelligence. Finally, a successful hunt, a monumental effort that would feed the entire group for days.
A shared victory, their collective joy echoing across the vast, open plains.
Every part of the animal was valued, meticulously processed to ensure nothing went to waste. Hides would provide warmth, shelter, and even rudimentary clothing, extending the animal's life beyond a meal.
The rich bounty was transported with care, a testament to their strength and coordination.
The smell of roasting meat filled the air, a primal aroma of sustenance and survival. From the ashes, new life and new food often emerged, a stark reminder of nature's cycles.
A well-deserved feast, a moment to replenish their strength and celebrate their collective success.
Around the fire, knowledge was exchanged, stories told, weaving the fabric of their culture.
These weren't just tales. They were lessons, warnings, and the shared history of their people.
The fire was their hearth, their light, and the enduring symbol of their mastery over nature.
Protected by fire and vigilance, the group rested, preparing for another day of challenges and triumphs.
Their lives were intricately tied to the weather, and keen observation was their ancient forecasts. Forecasting bad weather allowed them to prepare, building stronger shelters to withstand the elements. Each shelter was an evolution, incorporating lessons learned from previous storms and encounters. Their resilience was built into every branch, every hide, a testament to their enduring spirit. From the ashes, new life and new food often emerged, a stark reminder of nature's cycles. Inside, safe from the deluge, they weathered the storm, their ingenuity protecting them once more.
After the storm, a rainbow, a fleeting promise of renewal, arsing over their ancient home.
They emerged, gazing at the vibrant arc, perhaps seeing it as a sign, a moment of profound beauty. Even in the aftermath of a storm, there was joy, a reminder of the simple pleasures of life. With refreshed spirits, they pressed onward, the vast, green savanna calling them to new horizons. Their curiosity was boundless, drawn to every new feature of their ever-expanding world. These natural wonders provided both shelter and new opportunities for observation and learning. Every rock, every crevice, was a potential source of a vital resource for their survival. A discovery of high-quality flint was a true treasure, ensuring sharper tools for the challenges ahead. Finding a good flint source was reason enough to pause their journey, to craft and prepare. With an abundant source, they worked tirelessly, transforming raw stone into an arsenal of essential implements. Each tool was a testament to their growing skill, designed for specific tasks that made their lives more efficient. A sharp scraper meant processing hides faster, providing better protection from the elements.
A well-crafted spear, balanced and true, dramatically increased their hunting success.
Armed with superior tools, they moved with a newfound confidence, ready for whatever lay ahead.
The cycle of learning continued, as the young absorbed every lesson, preparing to one day lead their own hunts.
A wider river presented a new barrier, a formidable challenge to their constant movement.
Crossing required careful planning, assessing currents, and finding the safest route. They probed the unknown, every step measured, every decision a matter of survival. Together, they braved the currents, their communal strength overcoming the river's resistance. The bond of the group was their anchor, their lifeline through treacherous waters. The most vulnerable were always protected, carried safely across every obstacle. Exhausted but undeterred, they emerged onto new ground, ready for the next phase of their journey.
Each crossing opened a new chapter, leading them into landscapes yet to be explored and understood.
The world stretched endlessly before them, a testament to their incredible wanderlust and enduring spirit. Looking back, they saw the challenges overcome, the vast distance traveled, a remarkable saga of perseverance. Each new land offered new lessons, new resources, shaping them, forever changing them. Forged by savannas, tempered by trials, these early Homo erectus truly began humanity's great migration.
And so, 1.7 million years ago, in the heart of Africa, the incredible journey of human life continued.